Hi everyone! We're starting out our unit on color theory, and so this first week should be review for you guys. I know it's hard to remember all these things as we move from year to year, but we're really going to try to get that solid foundation in color, because if you know how colors work and how to mix them and how to use them, then it really helps your art in so many ways. So this week I have some videos for you. There's like the Roy G. Biv song, and it's kind of a fun thing that'll teach you guys about the order of the colors in the rainbow. And then we have a video that kind of does an overview of color theory, all those things that you guys should mostly know by now, but it's okay if you're forgetting some of them. We're going to be building on that foundation and adding to it and reinforcing it as we move forward. And then there's a couple of resources for you guys as well. So I have a color wheel tool, and it's from Canva, and it's excellent if you want to do design work because it has all these options you can put in. So if you want to find a complementary color or a different color scheme, analogous colors or something like that, you can set the settings and it'll help you pick out those colors within a color scheme that you like. And I'll show that to you guys in a minute. I've also included a color wheel for you guys to have and just hang on to that, because you're going to want to go back and reference that as you're working with color as we move through this unit and learn more and more about color. So this year, as you guys are really kind of getting up there in our elementary art, this being your last year of elementary art, we're going to go as deep as we can into color and learn things like really bring in the kind of the muted colors and the tints and shades and browns and how to do all that. So I'm hoping that by the time that you guys leave Harrison, that you have this, again, a really solid foundation in color to work with as you move forward in your art careers. So again, start by watching the videos, and then your homework is going to be basically you are going to create a complementary colors design, but I don't want you to just use any old complementary colors. So by now you guys should know your complementary colors are yellow, purple, blue and orange, and red and green, and they are across the color wheel from each other. So we've been doing that for years now, but those are real simple and you see those all the time. So what I want you guys to do to pick your complementary color pair is I want you to pick something a little more unusual. So you're going to use the Canva color wheel tool, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, so you can find some really interesting complementary colors that maybe are a little different in those, kind of blended colors or tertiary colors, or even moving out to like past those to like really blended in colors out there. So I'm going to show you how to use that color tool right now. And again, your homework or your work for this week is to create a design or a drawing, anything, but you can only use the two complementary colors that you pick. So just two colors. It can be abstract, it can be like a picture of a person, it can be your name designed, whatever, but spend your time on it, make it as good as you can, and try and pick an interesting set of complementary colors. So here is the Canva tool. So this is the Canva color wheel calculator. It's a mouthful to say. And you can find it at canva.com/colors/color wheel, but I've also linked it into the assignment below, so you can just click on the assignment link. You might notice that this color wheel doesn't look like your typical color wheel that's divided into triangles. Instead, all the colors are just blended together, but they're all in the same place that they would normally appear on a color wheel, and this looks much more like something that you would see in some sort of digital art program. This color wheel also has a ring around the outside that you might notice moves from darker to lighter, and that will allow you to change into pastel colors or really deep dark colors. You'll see some options below the color wheel. Step 1 says pick a color, so you're going to slide your circle around to pick your color. Step 2 says choose a color combination, and in this case we want it set to complementary because you guys are going to be using complementary colors for your homework, so that's what you want to find. Directly below step 2, you'll see two rectangles that show the colors that you're selected. So one of them is the color that you're putting your circle on, and the second one is the complementary match for the color that you're selecting. Remember that you also have that circle slider around the edge of your color wheel, and you can use that to slide into the pastel colors that are really light or into the deep, dark, rich colors that have black added to them. You guys might remember that these are called tints and shades. Play around with this until you find some colors that you really, really love. Yes, blue and orange are still across from each other. Yes, red and green are still across from each other. And yes, purple and yellow are still across from each other. But when you slide around these colors, you'll see that there are so many millions of combinations in between that are beautiful, beautiful color combinations. So you might have a purple that goes with a really limey kind of yellow, or you might find that your red is across from something more turquoise because of the shade of red that it is. And don't forget that you still have that ability to go into those pastel and the dark shades and make it even more complex. So whatever you find something that's not just your standard, ordinary, out-of-the-box complementary colors. Find 2 complementary colors that you absolutely love, and you're going to use these to create your art. Once you've found a pair that you love, I'm going to show you a really easy way to work with these digitally in Sketchbook. But if you don't want to work in Sketchbook, that's okay. You can just try and find some like colored pencils or crayons or something that you can match the color, or you can try to mix the color with colors that you already have and try to get as close to those colors as you can. But the easiest way to go with this is to do it in Sketchbook. So once you have your color pair, you're just going to take a screenshot of your screen. So I'm taking a screenshot of my screen now, and then I'm going to paste it into Sketchbook. Once you've pasted in your screenshot into Sketchbook, make sure that you go to a different layer than where you pasted this one in, because we're going to want to delete this later, and so we're going to delete the whole layer. So right now, go to any other layer or create a new one with a little plus sign in your layers box if you have to. And then you're going to use your eyedropper tool. You're going to get the eyedropper tool, and you're going to click on each of those rectangular boxes that show your color swatches. So in my case, I would click on the purple one, and now that loads up my brush with purple. So then I paint a little purple to make sure that I have a swatch on my palette that I'm using or on my page that I'm using. And I get the color sampler again, the eyedropper tool, and I click on the yellow swatch, and then I'm going to paint my little bit of yellow. And once I've got that, then I can go to the other layer where I had the screenshot, because I don't want that to be part of my art. And then I'm just going to hit delete to delete the screenshot entirely. Now I'm left with my 2 exact colors already on the page for me. So anytime I want to switch between those colors, if I can't find them elsewhere, I can just easily go back to that eyedropper tool and sample them again to switch back and forth. And now I've got my 2 colors that I'm going to use, and I can use them to create whatever design I want in Sketchbook. If you don't want to use the color wheel tool calculator, you can always use a regular old color wheel. So I've included a fairly advanced version of the color wheel that has light and dark shades and lots of good blends in it for you guys to use. Things are arranged here just like in any other color wheel you guys have seen. So complementary colors are straight across the color wheel from each other. If you draw a straight line across in any place, you're going to find the complementary color sets. You might notice that this color wheel also includes tints, or the pastel colors, so you can choose more complex and interesting complementary color sets. Let's say that you decide that you like this particular shade of green. Now we're going to look straight across the color wheel and find the colors that are complementary. So you'll find that you're in this kind of red-orange area straight across the color wheel. The next thing to do is count how many spaces that green is from the outside ring of the color wheel. So in this case, the green that we like is in the 5th space from the outside. So now we're going to go across to the red-orange, and we're going to count 5 spaces in. And there we have it. There's our shade of orange, or red-orange. So now we've come up with a set of complementary colors that's much more complex than just green and red, because we've got this almost getting into the turquoise area of green, and it's really soft and pastel. And then we have this peachy kind of tone on the other side that's really beautiful. And they look gorgeous together, and it's not just Christmas red and green. So you have a much more interesting color palette now. And you guys can absolutely find your own interesting color palettes by just looking at these more complex versions of the color wheel, or helping yourselves with the color calculator that I showed you guys a minute ago.